Welcome everyone to the show called the Ras Takes On Europe, and this is my inaugural. This is the inaugural episode of this show, and we are focusing here on the Champions League. So, my commiserations for everyone who is a supporter of a team in the Europa League. I've been there. I understand the misery. I understand how you feel. Commiserations, but of course, tune into this show. It's all about football, about Champions League. You can just keep an eye on your rivals and see how they're doing in this show. Be ready to rip them whenever whenever they throw in a damn squeak here and there, or they have any falterings. So this is the show for you to get involved in. And also, one other thing, you got a team to support in the Champions League, which is Sevilla FC. Do not let them go down to Europa League and join you guys, because you know what's going to happen after that. So, all right, on myself, I'm Ras. If you've been involved in amateur football in Singapore, you might know me from my company, D2D Sports. That's how I'm known here in Singapore. And besides that, on this platform, you've seen me as a Manchester United fan, which I have been for 29 years now, which is as old as my wife. So, first love, second love, whatever, all the same age here. But at the same time, before I became a Manchester United fan, I was a fan of the Italian national team, which is where I started supporting Serie A and following Serie A. And I have a favorite Serie A team, which is Inter. And that started about 28 years ago. So I'm an old school fan, you could say that. Long time, loyalty, running deep, running hard in me. So that's what I am. And well, this show is not complete without a co-host. So you need a co-host, because if it's just me talking to you, this will be a great episode for insomniacs. You cannot sleep, watch the show, you fall asleep. But I'm nothing without my co-host. So introducing my co-host from the trendy, swanky, happening Petaling Jaya in Malaysia, Negaraku. Yeah. Mr. Alvin.
Hello, Ras.
Hey, Alvin. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. And thanks for the intro. Yeah.
And
so,
Alvin, how's it going in Malaysia, wherever you are? Is it under lockdown now in Petaling Jaya?
We can say lockdown, partial lockdown, and all that. But most importantly, without water.
Yeah, I was going to ask. That was the second question I'm going to ask you. Whether have your water been disrupted or not?
Yeah, I think we need to start asking, when do we have water instead of when we don't have. Okay, so anyway, the show is about the Champions League, and the show is about European football, guys. So thank you for having me on board. And basically, an introduction about myself. I'm Alvin from the Bola-Bola Show. You can check out our show on our handle there, right below my name. Our website is www.bolabola.my, and also check us out on our Spotify podcast, where you can listen to all kinds of interviews that we had with our guests before. So the whole idea of the show is basically to be your workout and traffic jam companion, because in Malaysia sometimes you get stuck in jam and all that, and you need to listen to something, and you're bored with the local radio. So, and if you're a football fan, do check us out. We have got interviews with some great personalities of football, like former World Cup winner Thomas Berthold, who lifted the World Cup in 1990, and also a very fiery interview with Mr. Lim Tiong Kim. Those in Malaysia will know the NFDP program and all that has come out of it. So interesting for you guys to check it out. As for me,
I got to say that, Alvin, it is my workout companion. Whenever I work out, I'm listening to your podcast. So it's really entertaining, because sometimes I get bored of the songs I'm listening to. So, your podcast is the one I listen to. I like the throwback episodes you had. And in fact, I got to know Alvin through this show as well. I got to appear on his show speaking to Inter.
So exactly. So we got acquainted doing the Inter Milan episode, and it was a great episode as well, reliving back the days of Inter Milan and all that. So so great Ras to meet you, and let's get on with the show, and let's hope it's a great one.
Yes. One other thing, let everyone know who you support.
Yes. So my footballing journey, I started supporting football back in the late 80s and all that, and I support Manchester United just like you. And my first experience of being a Manchester United fan was back in 1990, where they were hammered 4-0 by Liverpool. It was a sad day. I went to school and everybody else was supporting Liverpool, and I said, no, come on, man, this ain't going to happen. So I had that commiserations with me during the time, but as I've been an MU fan ever since. And in fact, I wanted to throw this question back to you, Ras. For me, my first experience of European football was actually the 1991 Cup Winners' Cup final, where Manchester United beat Barcelona 2-1. And, I was 11 years old that time, and, sneaking out in the hall, turning off the volume, not waking up my parents to watch that game. And that cup doesn't even exist anymore, right?
Yeah, right, true. Yeah. That was also my first European experience. Same, but the difference was I slept out and then woke up early in the morning and asked my father what's the score. And he told me United won. So I okay, the next question was the Lee Sharp score, because that was my favorite player. Yeah. So it turned out Mark Hughes scored, and Mark Hughes is a big player, brilliant. Yeah. So that was a brilliant experience in that, my first ever European experience.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyways, yes, those listening in now, please like and subscribe to the Nap Shop Studio. Like us on Facebook, subscribe us on the YouTube channel. There, the link here you see.
Subscribe. Yes, guys.
Share.
We need all your support.
Yeah, we need all your support. Yeah, true. We need your support along this way. It's our maiden journey here. So now, Elvin, shall we introduce our guests?
Yes, they are dying to get on the show. So let's get them on board.
Yeah, so Nap Shop Studio broke the bank for our guests. And our first guest is a friend of mine, or you could say a frenemy of mine from Spain, Mr. Antonio Codinac. Welcome.
Hello, everybody, and good to see you, Ras. Good to see you, Alvin, and for all the audience, whenever you see us, good to have you on board. As everybody says, please like, share, and follow the show. We have a lot of things to share about it, from this muscle we have here on the left, which is our heart. Yeah. Most of the time, football supporters, we don't think much. We just follow our heart. And I think this show is about that. So whatever we share will be pretty much coming from our lovely muscle on the left-hand side of our chest, and excited to share as much as possible anything related to Spanish football. As a Spanish national, born in Barcelona a little bit more than 4 decades ago, but I've been here in Singapore for close to 20 years, and happy to be back in a football show like this one. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and you might have seen Antonio on Star Sports, Fox, Football Channel. He's a pretty prominent media personality in not only Singapore, because these channels, most of it, like Star Sports, Fox, it goes out to Southeast Asia and Asia as a whole. So you would have been familiar with Mr. Antonio. So Antonio, please tell us, who do you support?
So, as I mentioned, I'm naturally from Barcelona, but for the likes of the majority, or unfortunately, as I would say, I don't support FC Barcelona. In Barcelona, there is another team that we wear blue and white striped jersey. It's called Español de Barcelona. And don't ask me why. I was born in an Español family, my whole large family, and I come from a very, very large family. We are all Español supporters. And as I say, sometimes all these things, sometimes they don't make sense. And that's the team that I support. Unfortunately for us this year, no La Liga, no Europa League, no, of course, no UEFA Champions League. We relegated last year to the Segunda División, as we call in Spain. And we are on top of the table after 6 fixtures. So we are very happy, because our objective number one for this year must be only one, which is to go back to where Espanyol deserves, which is in La Liga Santander.
Okay. When was the last time Espanyol was in any European club competition?
So last year, Espanyol, we play Europa League, and we were knocked out, if I'm not wrong, in the last 16 or 32, and we were kicked out by Wolverhampton from the Premier League.
Right.
So, yeah, the Wolves kick us out. Our good friend Adama Toure kick our country fellowships friends of Espanyol. And to be honest, we can talk about it, perhaps not today, but it's for a team of the structure of the history of Espanyol. Sometimes qualifying for Europa League or qualifying for a European competition can be tricky. And a tricky, it means that you don't know where you're going to put your resources. Is it going to be focusing on La Liga? Is it going to be focusing on the Europa League? I mean, at the end, it was an awful season overall, and Espanyol deserves to relegate it. So we are where we deserve it, and we need to focus, as I mentioned, to go back to La Liga Santander next year, compulsory.
All right, good luck with that for Espanyol.
Yeah, good luck.
Elvin, let's get the next guest on.
Yeah, so our next guest is our Bundesliga expert, the German machine, the German precision. Welcoming on board, Rafa.
Rafa, you don't got your mic on.
Rafa, you got to unmute.
Sorry, guys. No, hopefully you can hear me.
Welcome, Rafa.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me on the show. Hi, Antonio, as well. It's great to join you guys, and looking forward to be part of the show.
And what about your footballing journey, Rafa?
Yeah.
Who do you support?
Well, I'm actually I was born in Switzerland. I grew up in London and South America, and then came to Singapore over 10 years ago. So I've been a little bit in different continents. So I've been following South American football, German football, of course, as well, with a lot of Swiss involvement. And growing up in London, I do support Chelsea. So they are my team since 1998, actually.
Okay.
One of my first matches that I watched at Chelsea was actually a 5-0 win against your team, Man United, back in 1999. So that was one of the first experiences I had as a Chelsea fan in the stadium, followed by a 3-2 loss at home against Arsenal. So heartbreak in my first few months as a Chelsea fan already.
Okay.
And I know Rafa from my league. He plays in our league for a team called Predators FC.
That's
so
right.
yes, are they
good?
Rafa, take it away.
Oh, it's taking too long to reply the question. Sorry.
Well, I think we're probably similar to how Espanyol performed in La Liga.
Very good. Well done. Quick answer, Rafa.
Okay, we gotta open up for first comments on the show. Kumar Krishnan says excited. Yes, so are we. A bit jittery maybe, hopefully. ZAK says let's go. All right, we're going. Joel Robert, here we go. Yeah, bro, here we go. We're going. Said Faris, all love for Ras and Elvin. Lots of love back to you, bro. Mark, Mr. Sancho, loving the UCL background. Ras and Elvin in the house. We are. Said Faris, Dortmund for Champions League. Yeah, okay. That's a brave shout. Hey Jude, I like that song. Hey Antonio, very familiar. Was he on local punditry show? Yes, he was. Jude, he was, as I mentioned, Star Sports Fox Football Channel. Joel Robert, Atalanta to be champions. Maybe. That's
clear.
That's a big shout. But
big shout.
Like what you said, but
Steven here. Looking great, guys. Thank you, Steven. Hope you're doing well. And the last comment, ZAK, all four powerhouse. Oh yeah, thanks a lot for your praise, man.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, now heading on, we'll go straight to our first agenda. Last season, Bayern Munich completely dominated Europe, treble winners for the second time in their history. It was a bit peculiar that the matches were played behind closed doors, but that was what it was needed to be done for football to be played and watched all over the world. Otherwise, it'll be in standstill forever. And I actually personally, I like the whole format of it being played in a neutral ground, like in a World Cup. What do you guys made of that?
So
Rafa, you go ahead, or Alvin, you go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So for me, I also like the one-off knockout games. It was brilliant, and I found the format not too draining. Of course, what was missing was the fans, right? So that was something that was taken completely sucked out of it. But the one-off games really give a very good chance to the so-called minnows and teams to create that upset. But what about you guys, Rafa?
Rafa, what do you think?
Absolutely agree. I think it was exciting, but let's hope it was a one-off and we don't have to do anything similar again anytime soon, because it does take away the home and away feeling as well. And of course, no fans, it makes it very tough. I think it was similar to what the NBA did recently as well with their playoffs, having everything in a bubble, as they called it, and it worked. It was good for safety, good for keeping the players safe. But as I said, I would hope that we don't need to see a repeat of that anytime soon.
And Antonio, your views
No,
on it?
my take on this is very straightforward. I love it. I love the format, and I think the Champions League should go on the group stage and so on until perhaps, I don't know, maybe the last 8, something like that, and then put them in or send them to a destination and do whatever, some sort of like a final four. I think the format, if it has spectators, is great. In Spain, our Spanish Cup, which takes the La Liga champion and the Copa del Rey, which is the FA Cup champion, together with the runner-up of La Liga and the runner-up of the Copa del Rey, we have now, I think, an agreement with Saudi Arabia, and we are going the next 4 years to play a Final Four. So I think this is a model that some national football federations are following. Again, perhaps not for the entire, but definitely maybe for the last stage. I personally like it. I know the point of Rafa, that it takes away that sort of like home away component. Also think about that for the fans, depending what is the destination, it might be a challenge to go. I'm just thinking about, for example, maybe some Russian teams going to Portugal, and so a few aspects to consider.
Yeah, I agree with you, Antonio. I like the format as well. And I feel they should do something like that in the future. So now we are going to focus on the first game in this first match week of the Champions League. Bayern Munich, the champions, versus Atletico Madrid. And we got our 2 experts here, Mr. Rafael. We will speak about Bayern, Antonio about Atletico. Let me throw in the questions first. For Rafael, Bayern Munich, what kind of form are they coming to this match?
Well, Bayern being Bayern, they're of course coming in very strong. They've played 4 games in the Bundesliga, collected 9 points. So they've won 3, lost 1, surprisingly. They started the season extremely strong, hammering Schalke 8-0, which was then part of David Wagner losing his job as a manager. That contributed greatly to that. But then, surprisingly, on match day 2 in the Bundesliga, they lost 4-1 against Hoffenheim. And trust me when I tell you that the rest of the Bundesliga had a sigh of relief, and it showed that, hey, Bayern Munich are actually beatable. They aren't that unbeatable force that everyone thinks that they are. But after that, it was business as normal again. They won the next 2 games and they're not looking strong. But because of that one loss, they're surprisingly for once not top of the Bundesliga yet, but expect that to change very soon.
And heading into this match, do you think they would be feeling confident? I would rate it as 50-50 this game.
I mean, maybe Atletico is a team with, and Antonio, I'm sure will touch more on this, in terms of their style of play and, being very compact in the mold of Diego Simeone. I'm sure that they wouldn't be Bayern's favorite team to play right now. So it won't be a foregone conclusion. But I wouldn't really agree with the statement that it's a 50-50. I think Bayern are still heavy favorites for this game, and I would expect them to win, not hammer them. It might be a close game, but I would still expect them to come away with the 3 points.
Okay, Antonio, on Atletico. Sorry, Elvin, you got a question.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Rafa about the Bayern's leaky defense, because they have been conceding goals quite freely lately, and
you're right.
And it's something very unlike Bayern. Of course, if you look back at their at their league form. If you balance it on the table, those 8 goals really counters the league table. Looks good, but I think the concern is at the back, and on the left side there is some sort of rotational between Lucas Hernandez and Alphonso Davies, but it's quite surprising. Any idea why Flick is not consistently using Davies on the left?
I mean, I think Davies was absolutely brilliant. He's been nominated now as well for the Golden Boy Awards, right? So I think his rise to stardom last season was astronomical. It was so exciting to see him. But as young players go, maybe when he's so high, you can't really expect him to maintain that form for a long time. Young players are inconsistent, and I think what Flick's seen in training and also in those few appearances that he had, he's decided to rotate the squad a little bit. And I also actually believe that he will stick with the same lineup that he's used recently, with Alphonse Davies probably being on the bench at first. So, but he will come back. I think it's just him being an extremely young player. He will come back, but just a little bit of inconsistency, which is to be expected.
Okay. On Antonio for Atletico Madrid, is it the same old Atletico Grinta, or any changes now Simeone has made with Suarez in the team now?
Look, I think Atletico was extremely disappointed last year in Lisbon when they got knocked out by Leipzig, if I'm not mistaken, because the weird environment through, with COVID, this sort of like single destination in Lisbon, all the last 8, if I'm not wrong, playing there and so on.
Yeah.
And the way they were playing, they were very, very positive that last year, well, actually this year, could have been Atletico de Madrid chance to grab the UEFA Champions League. Definitely is what is pending in Diego El Cholo Simeone curriculum as Atletico de Madrid manager. Say that, my take on this is that regardless who plays Atletico de Madrid, are not happy to play Atletico de Madrid. The same way Atletico de Madrid is not happy to play Bayern de Munich. In Spain, we compare playing Atletico de Madrid with going to the dentist, because you never like to go to the dentist because it's going to be tough. I don't know anyone who went to the dentist and say, oh, I had a pleasant journey or visit to the doctor. No. So Atletico Madrid is tough because El Cholo Simeone was a tough football player and has built a very strong mental team. This year, definitely, they let go a few good players, Morata, Thomas, and so on, because for financial reasons, that is obvious. They sign up almost for free Suarez. So they have something this year that they haven't had the previous years, which is a pure striker. And you can tell me, or you can argue with me that, sure, what about Diego Costa? Diego Costa, since he came back from Chelsea, has been very on-off. Injury heavily, very often, so has never had the regularity to be that center forward that Atletico Madrid needs. On the other side, Atletico Madrid is not a pleasant team to watch. They don't play good, beautiful football.
Yeah.
But they will put you against the wall and they will chase you. Who is the favorite? I still think that because, number one, it's playing in Germany. So definitely Bayern is the favorite. Number two, this is very early in the competition. It's a stage group. If it was a knockout stage, I will say perhaps 50-50, because Atletico Madrid is always a tough game to play. Diego Costa is not going to be there. If I'm not mistaken, 2 days ago, he was injured. So I think he has some like 3 to 4 weeks off. So definitely will play with Suarez, Correa, well, the classic Oblak and Fernando, and Felipe, and Hermoso, and Saúl, and Coque, and so on. It's not a very good quality, and of course, Joe Felix. It's not a very good quality team, but the quality they don't have football-wise, and when I say quality, I'm referring to Man City or FC Barcelona when they used to play Barcelona sweet football, or Bayern de Munich. They counterbalance that with the fitness, the energy, the commitment, and so on. That's why I thought, the example of going to the dentist is a good one to share what Bayern is going to chase.
And Antonio, and one more thing about Atletico. Do you think the loss of Thomas Partey will be something very, solely missed in the middle of the field for him to disrupt? Because he was there, I think, against Bayern would have been a different story. Lucas Torreira, great acquisition, but what do you think? Because Partey was not just a ball winner, he also had a vision.
And don't forget that in the last 2 years, Atletico Madrid has lost their 2 pure number 5. This year, Thomas. Last year, yes. Rodri to Man City. So I can guarantee you this was a financial decision. Atletico Madrid needed for the financial background and so on. They will replace him with someone else, maybe Ferreira or someone else. But let's see. The season is going to be long. It's going to be very intense. It has started later, needs to end on time because we have a Euro Cup, and there's also the Olympics at the end of the season. So there's going to be a lot of matches. But overall, teams in La Liga this year, because no money due to COVID, no big signings, and I'm sure we'll have time to talk about it. But teams are doing with what they have, and not very long squads. 23, 21, 24 max. So yeah, let's see what's going on.
Okay, Antonio, we got a question for you. Hola, Antonio. Is this a critical season for Simeone to win this elusive trophy with Atleti? It's from Steven.
Subin, great question, Steven. Thank you very much. Look, definitely, I think he has it. Simeone has it, in the middle of, in between eyes, that he will love to bring this silverware for Atletico Madrid. He was so close in the 2 finals against Real Madrid and so on, and I think that sort of like pay a toll on him. Critical. Simeone will always have critics, like any other manager. However, we cannot forget where was Atletico Madrid before Simeone and where Simeone has put Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid was in the 2nd division, then was a team that, promoted, and it was floating in between the 6th and the 14th position until Simeone took it and has been on Champions League on regular season for I don't know how many years, has reevaluated the whole club, and has put Atletico Madrid back on the spotlight. And don't forget that this team won La Liga a few years ago versus a very good Barcelona in the last game at El Camp Nou. So they know how glory tastes, and I'm sure he will put all his efforts. But if he doesn't get it, I don't think it will be critical for his, let's say, future as manager. I think before he's being replaced, he's going to be smart enough to knock on the president's door and say, hey, I think my period here is done and I want to leave, most probably going to Inter.
No.
Well, historically, I think his next step either will be Inter or Argentina national team.
Yeah, Argentina maybe.
Yeah.
That will be interesting.
And moving on to the next match. So from Alliance Arena, we're going to Stamford Bridge now. I've got our correspondent there, Mr. Rafael. Please take it away. Chelsea versus Sevilla.
Sure.
Rafael, Chelsea.
Well,
good
Chelsea,
in attack, weak in defense. Yes. How's it going, man?
Yeah, it's a bit of a roller coaster for Chelsea fans to watch our team at the moment. I mean, as Premier League watchers know, like we've been inconsistent, as you've just said, Raz. we've signed some very good players. I think Chelsea fans overall are delighted with the transfer window, and rightly so. I think arguably from the big clubs, Chelsea have made the best signings across Europe. So that was very good. But defensively, there are still some issues. I think it's just important to keep calm as well a little bit for Chelsea fans and for everybody surrounding the club, because there's been so many new elements coming in. We've just signed a new goalkeeper. We signed Thiago Silva to shore up our back line. They haven't really been fit. I'm sure Premier League watchers would have seen our capitulation against Southampton over the weekend, which was tough to watch as a Chelsea fan. But I would think with a different goalkeeper and Thiago Silva playing in defense, the result would have probably been different. So that will be one interesting topic for this match, of course, to see which Chelsea will turn up. There's still question marks about the formation. We don't know yet whether we will play 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, which one's the best one. We're not sure yet which central midfield partnership will work. So last match, we've seen N'Golo Kante play with Jorginho. Mateo Kovacic was Chelsea's player of the season, voted by the fans last season, so he didn't feature. Will he come back? So I think Lampard still hasn't quite figured out what the best formation is. He's still tinkering a little bit, which is understandable because it's early in the season. But we will need to find our stride fairly soon, and we need to become more consistent at the back in order to be able to compete.
Fernando Torres, bring him back.
Yeah, please no.
Or Diego Costa. Why about Diego Costa? We want him back?
I mean, as Antonio earlier said, I think Chelsea were very lucky that Atletico came in with that offer. Actually, twice. Alvaro Morata was not very good for Chelsea either, and Atletico did them a favor again. So I think Chelsea love doing business with Atletico. Long may that continue. But no, in current form, I mean, rather Diego Costa than Morata. But unfortunately, I think their time has passed. Costa was brilliant for Chelsea, though, and he's held in high regards, definitely.
Rafa, why do you say they need a striker? Is Timo Werner not a player for that position? He's not going to secure 30 goals or 25 for Chelsea.
I wouldn't really say that they need a striker. No, I think Timo Werner is fantastic. I mean, Turbo Timo has showed the last match against Southampton, and I think you can feel a bit bad for him almost, because he played out his heart. He got 2 goals, 1 assist. He was fantastic. He was really put in a world-class show. And it was actually the first time that we played him as the out-and-out striker. Matches before that, he played on the left wing, which he can also do. He's very versatile. But I do believe that he's the most exciting and complete Chelsea striker that we've had in a while, actually. Definitely since Diego Costa's left. It's been the best. You would not need a new striker.
All right. Rafa, we've got a question for you from Joel Robert. Question to Rafa: looking at Chelsea's squad and their group stage, do you think Frank and team stands a chance in this competition and maybe win it?
Thanks for the question, Joel. It's a good one. I think if you look at the group stage, Chelsea have been dealt with a relatively manageable group as compared to some others. I think Chelsea, along with Sevilla, are the favorites to progress there. I would believe, or I would hope. But then from, say, hopefully things go well for us and we reach the round of 16, how far we can go, I think it really depends on how the team gels, whether we can sort out our goalkeeper defensive issues. There's a lot of ifs yet, and to go all the way, I mean, when we won it in 2012, we had arguably a worse team on paper, and the chances were stacked more against us, so you never know. But realistically, I don't really think that this year Chelsea will be challenging for trophies. I think now this season is more about getting a team together that can challenge Liverpool and other teams in the Premier League, to challenge again there domestically first before building a team that can challenge in Europe as well. So I think this season is too soon, in my opinion.
Okay. Elvin, Mr. Elvin, you have a question for Antonio on Sevilla?
Yes. I wanted to ask Antonio what are his feelings about his chances of Sevilla this season in the La Liga. Okay, in this, 2 questions first. In this game in particular, do you see Jules Koundé able to really stop the front of Chelsea, because Koundé is very highly rated centre back, and I mean, surprisingly, Man City did not rebid again for him when they wanted to sign him. You know, that was quite surprising. They let him go just like that. And what are Sevilla's chances overall in the La Liga? Can they like shorten the gap? As the gulf between Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Sevilla been reduced? I would say.
I'll try to touch on all fronts. I mean, I understand there are a few questions and within that. So the first thing I want to say is that Sevilla historically is what we call a selling team, meaning they buy cheap and they sell expensive because the players go from here to there. That success has only one name in Sevilla. It's a not very popular name, but is their sports director. His name is Monchi. Used to be a goalkeeper for Sevilla, and he was the sports director also for Rome a few years ago. But he's the one that is the mastermind of identifying the talent. The Kante is, of course, one of them. So say that I think it's very important to understand the philosophy of Sevilla, which is with what we have right now, we need to maximize the value and the talent of these players. If we touch first on La Liga, if we have an overall La Liga this year where Barcelona and Real Madrid are not extremely superior to the rest, and the title is around maybe 80, 79, 85 points, for sure there's going to be an option for an outsider. Call it Sevilla, call it Atletico de Madrid, call it Villarreal, Real Sociedad, who are topping the table as we speak. So sure, there is an opportunity, but that condition needs to happen. The biggest challenge that Sevilla has right now is that they don't have enough fire up front. And En-Nesyri is not a striker to go to the European Champions League, and Luke de Jong is not a striker to be successful in Champions League. So consider also that Sevilla historically has been a very Europa League team, and now we are asking to give us a little bit more. Can Sevilla, with the tools, financial resources, the talent, go not one step, but maybe 2 or 3 steps forward? For me, they only have one objective this year in the Champions League, which is to go through the group stages as objective number 1. So I agree with you, Rafa, that on paper they are favorites with Chelsea. The second one, of course, is to progress as much as possible in the knockout stage, depending what will be the draw and so on. So, look, this is who they are. This is the DNA of Sevilla. It is a very good team. They have an outstanding manager under the name of Julen Lopetegui, former Spanish national team manager, sacked 2 days before the last Euro Cup because he signed up for Real Madrid and so on, and it was a big mess. But it's a good team. It's a good team because Lopetegui has been able to really inject that the style of playing, and they are a group of players. They don't have stars. Maybe the biggest stars now is going to be who? Rakitic, who came from Barcelona as a retirement agreement, sort of. So let's see how they develop. Kante, for me, in January is gone, so they need to maximize him. When the winter window opens, I think he might go because the guy is performing outstanding, and I think he has a buyout clause of 30 to 40 million. I'm not very sure, but I think it's around 30 to 40, maybe 15 million euros. And Man City, who are the specialists on buying centre backs, they might get him. But hey, objective number 1, group stage later on. Let's see.
Antonio, when you said objective number one group stage, I heard a lot of cheers in my earpiece because the fans in the Europa League were cheering. That Sevilla's objective is to stay in the Champions League, so they're very happy. They're not going to join them soon, I hope, and I think they're praying for that.
Nobody in history is going to repeat that again. The number of Europa Leagues that Sevilla won, the same way that I do believe that nobody is going to repeat what Real Madrid did a few years ago, winning 3 Champions League in a row. I think it's unbelievable. But anyway, as we say in Spain, you need to feed Real Madrid separately. We will have plenty of time to speak about Real Madrid in other shows, most probably.
All right, moving on. The next match, big one. This is my match. Inter versus Borussia Mönchengladbach. So before I speak about Inter, Rafa, please tell me about Borussia Mönchengladbach. I want to know as much as I can possibly get from you on this team. Let me know. Tell me about them. How's their form? How they doing?
So in the Bundesliga, now Ras, they've had a bit of an indifferent start, I'd say. So they played 4 games so far. They have 1 win, 2 draws, 1 loss, and are currently in 11th place in the Bundesliga. Sure, the rankings don't matter that much this early in the season, but still, it's not been an excellent start. This is their 3rd Champions League campaign since the competition changed name from the European Cup, and in the last 2 times that they qualified for the group stages, they didn't make it out to the round of 16. So this will be their first time to do that, if ever they manage to. As a Swiss guy, actually Gladbach are quite an interesting team for me because they have several Swiss international players who are starring for them. So players to watch out are definitely Jan Sommer, their goalkeeper, who's the Switzerland number 1. He's been, I think, very underrated. He's never really linked to big clubs, but of course I'm biased as a Swiss guy, but I think he's been one of the top goalkeepers in Europe's top 5 leagues. So he's a very consistent player, and I think he'll have a job at hand against Inter. And then at centre back we have Matthias Ginter, who's a German international, who's played recently in the national break for Germany, and Nico Elvedi, who's a Swiss international. So their backbone, I think, is very strong. And a name that a lot of fans will be familiar with is Marcus Thuram, who's actually their centre forward and the son of France legend Lilian Thuram. I think, so he's got a very big name and footsteps to follow, but he's a very exciting talent, and he started really well. So he's a starting player for them. He's dangerous in front of goal. He's got a lot of pace. He's explosive, and his movement off the ball is really good as well. So dangerous and exciting player. Otherwise, they've got some injuries as well. So last time I'll mention Switzerland and Gladbach was Dennis Zakaria, is a player that some might be familiar with as well. He's a very talented central midfielder, destroyer. He's unfortunately still out with an injury. And another player, Ras, that I'm sure are very familiar with, is Valentino Lazaro. He's actually on loan from Inter. But I think he's a bit doubtful still. He hasn't played yet this season because he's been out with a calf injury. So we'll see whether he gets to feature.
Okay, so on the Inter perspective, we lost the derby over the weekend. Not nice, but we've been dominating Milan for 4 years. So about time AC Milan won as well. Tough game, but we're going into this game in a bit of an indifferent form because we drew against Lazio, lost against Milan in our last 2 matches. We've been showing very good attacking football going forward, but defensively we've been porous. We've been leaking in goals, and so Conte has got to shore that up. I think all Inter fans would approach Champions League matches with a bit of an apprehension because we know anything can happen here. We could screw up and get knocked out again early from the Champions League, but we hope not. We got a better draw than we did the last time, so we hope to do better, and we hope to start better this season as well. Last season we drew, I think we underestimated Slavia Prague. We drew that first game in San Siro, and now we're going to play Borussia Mönchengladbach. I think we have to take this more seriously and start off with a win. So hopefully it happens, but we got to take it cautiously. Cautious approach. I think first thing Conte got to do, got to show up the defense, got to tighten it up again, like how it was last season, and even previously under Spalletti, we had quite a good tight defense. But we have been affected a bit by COVID as well. Some players out from due to COVID. We got a young Alessandro Bastoni back, so he'll be a big boost, and hopefully Alexander Kolarov doesn't play. Hopefully, because that's like a 1 or 2 goals in for Borussia Mönchengladbach if he plays, and we will be missing Milan Skriniar, so that's a big loss as well. Yeah. Yes, Antonio.
Ras, last summer, or actually a few months ago, there were heavy rumors from Barcelona, especially when Suarez was about to leave, that Barcelona was behind Lautaro.
Yeah.
Is he that good?
Well, he's good, but I think he still needs time at Inter. He needs time still to play at the highest level in Europe. Needs to need to be refined further. I think if he had gone to Barcelona, of course, it'd be his dream to play alongside Messi week in, week out. I think that's what he wanted. And I think when those rumors started, he got his head turned by it and his performances dropped. But since all that has been laid to rest, he's been performing much better. And I think he can only get better. But of course, selfishly, I would want him to stay at Inter. But nowadays, nobody really stays at one club for the rest of their career or a long time. So we expect him to go sometime soon, but I think not ready for Barcelona quite yet.
When are you going to talk about the Serie A?
No, not yet.
Okay.
But I think
because I was looking at the table, and first Milan, second Sassuolo, third Atlanta, fourth Naples.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't understand anything.
Why?
Early days.
AC Milan is a big team. AC Milan.
With all respect to everybody, of course. I'm just joking, but it's good. It's good to see Milan again on top of the table. To be honest.
Yeah. Let's see how long that lasts, because I think a lot of it is down to Ibrahimovic and the influence he has on that team.
And Ras, I regarding Inter, how excited are you about Hakimi on the right?
Oh, very, very. I think that was our best signing. We made a lot of signings that are like old players. We made a lot of old player signings, veterans, and a lot of Inter fans are not very happy about it. We're like, okay, this guy's coming. Okay, that guy's coming. We know all these players are all Conte signings because he's requested for them. He feels that without experience, you can't win anything. But Hakimi was something we got across the line before the whole COVID thing all started. So we are really excited with his signing. I think he's done well so far, and he's been a breath of fresh air on the right wing. So, yeah, we are very excited with Hakimi. Any other questions, guys?
He was excellent for Dortmund last season.
Yeah, he was. He tore us apart in the Champions League last season and in Dortmund.
I think Dortmund tried to sign him, or they were inquiring, but it was clear that it wasn't going to happen. But it's a big loss to them, and of course, I think, like you said, Raz, a brilliant signing for Inter. Fans will have a lot of joy with him.
Yeah, we hope as well.
Almost as much as with Kolarov.
Pardon?
Almost as much joy as with Kolarov.
Oh, that's the opposite of it.
Just kidding.
And how next match? Sorry, Antonio. Another Serie A team, Lazio versus Borussia Dortmund. So, Mr. Rafael, Borussia Dortmund. What do you have to say about them? Your favorite German team, right?
They are, yes. I've actually been following them since the mid-90s. Actually, since they last won the Champions League, which was in 96, 97 against the Serie A team, which was Juventus. So, yeah. They've started the season well, Dortmund. 3 wins, 1 loss in the Bundesliga, currently third in the table. So they're keeping pace with Leipzig and Bayern Munich. Dortmund for me is a bit of a mixed bag. I think they have a Swiss manager who's not afraid to bring in youngsters, who likes to play very flamboyant and exciting attacking football. But does he have the pedigree or the experience based on his previous jobs and the clubs managed to really bring home titles and trophies? I think that's a big question with Dortmund at the moment. I think they play some brilliant football. They have been for a few seasons. Got some of the most exciting youngsters in Europe, and they're adding to them as well. I mean, we look at Jude Bellingham, who was signed this summer only. He was just voted Bundesliga Rookie of the Month for September already, so he's Lucien Favre, the manager at Dortmund, had no hesitation of putting him into the first team. He's been playing a lot. He can play as a 6, as an 8. His all-round game's been good. Then from the 3 Bundesliga players nominated for the Golden Boy Award, you've got Jadon Sancho and Erling Haaland from Dortmund. So I think a lot of exciting young talents in that Dortmund team. You can never rule them out, really. But do they have the mentality to really stay all the way till the end of the season and win titles? That's what I'm not sure about.
And Rafa, what went wrong with Ciro Immobile back in Dortmund a few years back? And will this be his revenge game?
I'm happy you bring it up, Alvin, because I also thought about that immediately when I saw the fixture coming up against Lazio. So when we signed Ciro Immobile, we signed him from an excellent season at Torino, it was then. And at Dortmund, a lot was expected from him, but he didn't live up to expectations at all. I think he played 24 games in the Bundesliga and only managed to score measly 3 goals, and then loaned out, I think, to Sevilla actually shortly after. And then at Lazio, he had, Ras will talk more about him, but he's reinvented himself, and they're a completely different player. But at Dortmund, he was a shadow of himself.
Okay, we've got a question now for you, Rafa, from Stephen John. Will Jadon Sancho ever leave Dortmund for Man United? It seems like becoming another Nico Gaitan saga. So this Jadon Sancho thing, Manchester United fans are very allergic to hear his name now.
Well, for Dortmund fans, thanks for the question, Sivan. I think it's a very good question, contemporary, because there's been a lot of rumors and news around this, right? But for Dortmund, we actually hope that not just the Man United fans, but also Ed Woodward and the rest of the management will get sick of his name and not try to sign him again, because, of course, Dortmund have communicated very clearly that he is not for sale, and they do not want to part with him yet. I think they've slapped a 100 million euro price tag on him, which at the end, I think with the agent fees would have been a bit too expensive for Man United this summer. So good for Dortmund. They really showed strength, which is unusual for them, because I remember what Antonio said earlier about Sevilla being a selling club. Unfortunately, Dortmund too often in recent history have also had to sell a lot of their good players, often even on a free transfer. They left them. So it's good that they show a bit of strength with Jadon Sancho and show that they didn't want to sell him now. But don't get me wrong, I do believe that in the next year or two, he will eventually leave. Whether that's to Man United, we'll see. But he won't stay at Dortmund until the end of his career, unfortunately.
But his contract will be running out, right?
It will.
And if Dortmund don't sell, if they don't cash in, it's going to be a huge loss. So
yeah, but at the same time, we remember we look at Bayern Munich's best player and arguably the best striker in Europe. He left Dortmund not so many years ago on a free transfer, because Dortmund said they don't want to actually sell him. They rather keep him until he leaves on a free to Bayern, right? Lewandowski, that is. So there is a bit of precedent. I do believe Dortmund would be foolish not to cash in on him at some point, but they also don't want to be bullied, which I think is a nice sign of strength. It's you don't see that at every club, so we'll have to see.
Okay, I've got another question from Mark Hosagai. This guy loves Sancho. He was talking about Sancho all the time, and that United's surely going to sign him. Okay, anyways, he says, Favre does not show any championship pedigree like Klopp. Dortmund threw away a 7-point lead 2 seasons ago, and we have been downhill since. So, what's your question? What do you make of that?
I think it's. I mentioned something in a similar mold earlier, right? So I think thanks, Mark, for the comment. That's pretty much exactly what I tried to say earlier as well. I as much as I rate Favre and as much as I think he is good at developing youngsters and bringing them through into the squad, as he has done on numerous occasions, not just at Dortmund, but at Gladbach years ago and at other clubs, Hertha Berlin as well. He's very known for that, but he doesn't. His trophy cabinet is very worryingly empty. So I kind of agree with that sentiment. But then, as we saw with Sarri when he joined Chelsea, right, he won his first trophy, which was a Europa League title, and he continued with Juventus and won a Serie A title. So so every manager has to start somewhere and win a first trophy. So hopefully Favre can do that at Dortmund. But the omen and the precedent isn't that good. I agree with that.
we humans are sometimes very, very simple. We just like to compare right away with each other, and we look for the next Klopp or the next Guardiola or the next, when most probably there will always be only one Klopp, and there will always be only one Guardiola, or there will always be one Zidane or Conte, or and so on. And I think as a football fans, we should share all these comments with the audience, so we help them to be a little bit more open-minded. And it's tricky because, as I said at the beginning, we all follow our heart and not very often our brain when we talk about football. But sometimes we need that bit of, like, chill time and reflect about it.
Okay, next question. I've got another comment here from Hey Jude. What do you all make of Lazio? Another surprise package or just another free pass to Europa League? Okay, I'll answer this one. I think Lazio last season had a very good season until COVID struck them, and then they suffered because they didn't have the squad depth to be able to play every 3 days, 4 days. So that's why their title challenge faltered. For this season, I think they have not really strengthened the squad in the pre-season well enough to withstand the challenge of the Champions League. Of course, as a fan of Serie A and Italian football, I hope they do well and they can at least progress into the knockout stage. But I have my doubts on Simone Inzaghi getting the best out of this group, because he's got to balance it. He's got to either, he's either got to focus on Serie A or he's going to get them to do their best in Champions League. So it's going to be either or for them. And I think if he does to try and do with doing well in both competitions, he might fall flat on his face and do not well.
But I have to say that the group they are, we focus on Champions League. The group they are, I have to say, is quite open. And I was just looking at, just now with Dortmund, I say Brujas or Bruges, Lazio, and Zenit of St. Petersburg. So I think it's quite open, and definitely I think they have a chance to progress after the group stage, and then again, depending on what will be the draw, try to reach as far as possible. I don't think it would be another free pass for Europa League, and I think because they fall into this so-called open group, they might focus a little bit extra on Champions League, trying to progress. And don't forget that in this competition, the farther you go, the more money you collect, and everybody is behind money nowadays. Especially under these times, and most probably all these teams might have good bonus, good benefits for progressing into competition that rewards heavily on finance.
Yeah, true. I agree on that. I mean, their owner Claudio Lotito is very prudent with his finances. That's why they've not really strengthened the squad as you would expect for a team that is gone into the Champions League. But of course, COVID and the strain of COVID on finances has had an impact as well. And on Immobile, I think for me, the jury is still out there. I think he had a fantastic season last time around, but I just want to see how he does in the biggest competition in Europe, which is the Champions League. He's not done well for Italy's national team because he's played, not really been firing on all cylinders there. Let's see how he does. I think it'll be important for his development if he can do well in the Champions League, and then and maybe then he can break the duck with Italy and do better there. But let's see how Ciro Immobile does. I think there's some exciting players, Luis Alberto, Milinkovic-Savic as well. Very good players they have. Acerbi in defense, Trakosha in goal. I think quite a good team they have, but let's see how they do. Kelvinder Gill is asking, what about Juve? Can Pirlo do some magic alongside CR7? Woo, Pirlo. Juve is not my favorite team, but for the purpose of the show, I'll say, well, at the moment, it's a bit tricky because they drew recently against a lowly team called Crotone. Cristiano was, of course, not playing because of contracting COVID, yeah.
COVID.
He was out. I think it's still very much up in the air with UA. We don't really know what we're going to get from UA. Of course, all Serie A watchers would want a new champion, and generally in Italy is either you are for UA or against UA. There's nobody is in between when it comes to Juventus. So I think most of us, they are non-Juventus supporters. We are hoping that they falter and they don't have a good season. Whether they can finally break the duck in Europe, maybe. You never know what's going to happen. It's very open, this competition this time around, and I think it's early days as well. So it's very open. I think you never know. They might finally break the duck and win the Champions League.
Juventus mirrors very, very well Real Madrid, regardless how they're performing and so on. Of course, there can always be accidents and so on, but they are going to be there. I mean, I would be surprised if they don't reach the last 8 of the Champions League competition. Pirlo, no Pirlo, Cristiano is still in top form. Let's see how he comes back after COVID. But there is no other player in the world that takes care of himself the way Cristiano does. There is no other player in the world who is, I would say, more passionate about the game than he is, and that is already, a very strong point. Definitely is a year for Pirlo to show what he can achieve. But I would be surprised if Juve doesn't reach the last 8.
I think getting to the last 8 shouldn't be any issue for them, even being in a group in Barcelona, because the other two guys there, Dynamo Kiev and Ferencvaros, I think they should get through.
They should go through, Alvin, definitely, and of course accidents can happen the same way Barcelona could not go through. Accidents, again, sorry to repeat, it might happen, but historically, mentality, when you play against these teams, I do believe that it's the opponent has that psychological challenge that they are full of stars. Anybody, anytime can decide a game. And when you play against Real Madrid, FC Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Juventus, nowadays Man City, Man United, PSG, and so on, you not only play against the player, but you play against the history of the clubs, and I think that plays some heavy burden on some people.
Yep. All right. Now we're going on to our last match that we're going to feature today. It's a big one: Paris Saint-Germain versus Manchester United. So, Elvin, we are both Manchester United fans.
Yes.
I'll start with you, Elvin. What do you think of Manchester United right now?
Right now, in fact, I am so overly excited and pumped up today when I found out that Bruno gets the captaincy. Okay, so this is something that even Solskjaer shocked him during the press conference. Even he didn't know he was named the captain until together with the press that because Harry Maguire is not available. Interesting enough, I feel that Bruno has great drive and passion, and in fact, we have lacked that kind of captain since a Roy Keane figure. Of course, Bruno can be very, I would say, vocal, and he has completely transformed the team since he came on board. So PSG is going to be a very difficult opponent, no doubt about that. And with the pace of Mbappe and of course Neymar and Di Maria as well over there. I don't know whether it's a good thing that Icardi is not playing, because he could have exposed them in certain areas as well. So, but United have got some issues that definitely need to be addressed. Okay, and this will be a great test for Solskjaer as well. Going away, of course, without any fans in the stadium, whether it will make any difference or not, we don't know. But I think just this decision on captaincy would have just turned the result around from what I see. What about you, Ras? Do you think? Okay, I got one question. I like to put it. Can be a very toxic situation for you guys, but let's open for discussion. What do you guys think about Paul Pogba and Tuchel and all those guys in PSG? In fact, Ander Herrera also had some great comments about Pogba today and all this being a great player. No doubt about that. Me personally, I see he and Van de Beek playing the same role, and that is the reason why Van de Beek cannot really fit into the team as long as if Pogba is still there. So Ole needs to decide it has to be either one, and if you can, cash in on Pogba when you can. But what about you guys?
Rafa, tell me. Can't hear you, Rafa.
As a neutral on this, since I'm not a Man United fan, I have worked with them last year during the ICC, so I got to see them face to face, which was nice, and having seen Pogba as well. It was great. But I think he's a brilliant player. As a Chelsea fan, I watched Kante play together with Pogba for France, and the Pogba I see for France is very different to the one we see at Man United. So I do think he has the potential to be a world-class player, but I'm not sure Man United are using him the right way potentially. And if I was a Man United fan, I would probably feel disappointed, because I think for the amount of money that United paid for him, as well as the contract he's on and the expectations that are placed on him, he's not been good enough for a variety of reasons. That's what I think.
All right, I've got a question now. This is for you, Antonio. It's from Kumar Krishnan. What about PSG? Can they finally clinch the UCL?
Well, can, definitely, will. They were very, very close a few months ago. My answer to will might come or might be related to how much deeper the owner's pocket is. I think, and this is something that I heard this morning on the Spanish radio, I do think that this is not the last one. It's going to be very, very close to be the last year of Kylian Mbappé at PSG. I think his brain and his eyes are already in Real Madrid. Real Madrid has not really spent much money in the past 2 years, because I do believe that they want to put everything on the table to try to sign him. Another rumor that I've heard today, and it was quite surprising, is you might know that FC Barcelona is in the middle of, it will have presidential elections in March 2021. So Bartomeu is leaving, and the new president should come in. And I've heard that one of the candidates did approach Kylian Mbappé recently. Why do I say this? Because I think for me PSG is everything about Mbappé as the star. And you might be surprised that I'm sort of like leaving aside Neymar, because I think Neymar is not, and I'm not sure it will be the player that used to be at Barcelona when Barcelona signed him a few years ago. So going back to the question of Kumar, thanks a lot once again. It could be the eternal underdog that could grab a title, sure, but I'm not convinced. I do believe that there are too many stars in that team, and for a team to be successful in such a long competition as the Champions League, there needs to be a lot of sacrifice from teammates in order to benefit perhaps an individual. And I'm not sure if at PSG that atmosphere exists. I'm not sure if my answer or my comment was clear. I think you really need a team effort to win the Champions League, rather than having one or two stars highlighting here and there. I don't like PSG, but that is, nobody cares about it. But it's because their philosophy of a club that has been built on money, I don't think is the right one. I want to share something about the previous topic. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense, but I have something that I wanted to share about Pogba.
Okay, see.
Through all these years of watching a lot of football and seeing players and rumors, and what about this guy signing for this team or the other, sometimes we just say names and we imagine players going into top teams. And why do I say this? Is because there were big rumors a few years ago that, Real Madrid was behind Pogba and they were almost very, ready to sign him and so on. And after watching football, for so many years, I realized that there are certain players that are meant to be at a specific team. And a specific team doesn't mean a super top of the table. I'm going to give you an example. Why we have not seen Pogba excel at Man United. He's a very good player. He's toxic, blah, blah, blah. Has he excelled? Has he become the angular, stone in the team? No. Why? Because perhaps Pogba is not a player for Man United. But perhaps you put Pogba at Everton and Everton becomes a top 4 team. You know what I mean? With this sort of sometimes not all players can play for Real Madrid and PSG and Barcelona. No. There are players that are meant to be, or they are meant to play at certain teams and really bring all their value and bring and elevate that team from a mid-table perhaps to success. And I could give you, this has been a message I've been sharing with a lot of people for a long time, but I could give you so many names of players that they do one good year. Luka Jovic at the Bundesliga last year, 30 goals.
Correct.
Real Madrid pays 60 million euros, and he is nobody at Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Nobody, because Luka Jovic is not a striker for Real Madrid.
Yes.
Luka Jovic was fantastically playing at Stuttgart, and if he was playing at Stuttgart, I'm sorry if he didn't play by Stuttgart, sorry, I don't know, but that type of Frankfurt, sorry. So excuse me. If he would have stayed at Frankfurt, he would be scoring 20 and 30 goals year after year, because he's a player to be meant for that type of team. And I think Pogba is exactly too much flowers and too much compliments we all as fans have given to Paul Pogba. And look where he is now, which, he could be a superstar, and he's a good player. Sorry, I know it took too long.
You're saying it's a mentality thing then, Antonio?
Yes, well, it's a mentality, and also clubs signing the wrong players because,
for marketing reasons. Yeah.
But Jovic last year at Frankfurt, who knew? Do you really thought, that he was going to score 30, 35, 25 goals at Real Madrid? No. And I'm going to give you another example. And I hope everybody who is watching will go like, oh, maybe you're right. Antoine Griezmann, outstanding at Atletico de Madrid. Nobody at Barcelona. Why? Because he doesn't fit Barcelona style.
That's right.
Antoine Griezmann used to play behind Falcao, behind Costa, behind the striker. He's not a winger, and he's not gonna play. So Antoine Griezmann used to play where Messi played, and nobody's gonna remove Messi. Who signed Antoine Griezmann for 122 million euros, and is miles away of the outstanding player that he was at FC Barcelona. As I told you, I have a whole list of players to mention that.
The same administration, Antonio, to answer your question, the same administration who also paid record fee for Philippe Coutinho. That's another example from Barcelona.
Exactly. That's another in my list. I have a whole bunch of. So, clubs need to really, really make sure that, but again, now it's marketing, sign Griezmann and whatever, and these jerseys and all that. Anyway, it is for me it's a very passionate topic, and we can extend it another time.
Another time. All right. Kumar Krishnan says that's very true, Antonio. Next comment is from Elvin's friend, good friend, best friend, Bala Murali. If fans are not allowed in the stadium, does this destroy the European night atmosphere? The fans' chant and ultra presence is certainly missing. It's like playing football game in mute. So, Elvin, what do you have to say for your friend's question? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Without the atmosphere and those famous European nights, that you see, the thing with the Champions League, and all of us remember, is that anthem. When they play that anthem, the fans are chanting, the players are walking out. That brilliant anthem of the Champions League, that entire atmosphere is gone. And this COVID thing is, here to stay, and for how long we don't know. They are. I'm not sure about regulations in UEFA on whole, but there are leagues that are allowing certain number of fans in the stands already, be it 10% or 20%.
Depends on the country, and I think it goes by percentage of the total capacity of the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I think even countries, sorry to jump in, even the countries, some countries have different rules in different states, even some more. So it's not even like regulated nationally in Europe, Germany being one of those examples. So it's a complicated topic.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we're talking about PSG and Man United, and I'm a Man United fan, I'll just like to go back to the past and speak about that famous second round win at Parc des Princes, or however you call it. Pardon my French, not a French speaker. I'll just say that was, it was lauded. Everyone associated with Manchester United was jumping up and down in joy with that win over PSG. And I felt that was a very lucky win. We got lucky that night. 9 out of 10 times we play that game, we probably lose. We got lucky, and it's also because PSG probably were confident or overconfident, and they let their guard down, which led to 2 mistakes, and we were clinical. We took the chances. We believed all the way till the end, got lucky with the penalty. We won that game. And the reaction to that win from the Manchester United camp is not what you expect from Manchester United, because you've just won a second round tie in the Champions League. It's not like you've gone to the final or you've won the final. So that I felt that was a bit of an overreaction. Going into this game, it'll be a completely different game, I feel. PSG had 2 defeats in the first 3 games in League One, but then they've picked up as usual, business as usual now for PSG. They've got some players missing. United's got some players missing. I would see PSG winning this one, but for Manchester United, I think I picked this one up on Twitter. Someone mentioned that it's watching them nowadays is like on one day we feel like we are a relegation threatened team, and the next day we are pumped up to play against PSG, full of confidence that we're going to beat them. That's how we are right now. So
I think that day you won because you were not wearing red. I remember you were wearing a white shirt, a light cream. The pink, right?
Pink. Yeah, pink.
Pink. You see?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
But according to Chinese culture, red is good luck.
Yeah, I know. But maybe I don't know. Maybe not for the.
Maybe not for Manchester United nowadays.
And Ras, what about what the possibility of watching Teles make his debut?
Yeah, hopefully he makes his debut, because you never know, he might still be on the bench. And let's see how he does, because he was playing for Inter, so I did watch him play for Inter, but since he's gone to Porto, I think his game has gone up the next level, and he's matured as a player. He was very young when he played for Inter, and that Inter team wasn't quite stable as well. So let's see how he does. I'm quite excited to see how Cavani does at United.
Yeah, but he won't be playing today.
He won't be playing today, but in the future games, Oh, looking
But,
forward
but,
to
but who knows? He can give Ole some tips about what goes on in the PSG dressing room.
Yeah,
You know?
maybe he might be giving them some tips and he might be using it on the pitch. Who knows? Let's see.
Yeah.
All right, a quick question now before you wrap up the show. Everyone, Elvin, Rafa, Antonio, quick question to you. What do you make of this season's Champions League? Who do you think is going to win it? Dark horses, perhaps? Teams that you think might flop in this season's Champions League? So just a quick thoughts. Elvin, starting from you. Your
Okay.
favorite?
I mean, the favorites, I think, to retain the Champions League, and I say retain means Bayern Munich. It's still being the top team in Europe, and with Lewandowski still around. You know, I don't see him running out of gas, and they just need to beef up their defense a bit, and things will go well for them. Teams that I think would flop, this one is pretty interesting, but I honestly think that this could be a disastrous campaign for Barcelona. I mean, I see them getting out of the group, but honestly, I feel that there's just the situation in Barca has become too toxic, and you know, with Leo's situation and drama also going on, you know, I think it's going to be very bad. But guys, you know, if there's one thing that I'm looking forward in this Champions League is to watch Moneyball FC. And when I say Moneyball FC, it's FC Midtjylland. You know, they completely bring the concept of Moneyball into the player. Their owner is a big time betting guru and all that, has decided to purchase the club totally based on stats and analytics, and you know, in a group with Atalanta, Liverpool, and Ajax. You know, I mean, they may look as the smallest club in that group and being from pot 4, but I got a feeling some surprises could come out of that group just based on data analytic and statistic, guys. Yeah.
Okay, Rafa, your turn now.
Sure. I think very interesting, Alvin, on the FC Midtjylland prediction. In that group, they'd probably be like the least favorite for me to go through. I think Atalanta in that group could actually be, and I wouldn't say a dark horse, but based on last season's performance, I thought they gained a lot of fans actually. Like, they were very popular. Their style of football was very refreshing. So I think I would expect them to qualify for a round of 16 again, and then we see how it would go. Favorites, I have to agree with you though, Alvin. I think Bayern Munich probably will have to be among the favorites. It's worth noting that other than Real Madrid, nobody's really managed to retain the Champions League since they've changed the name from the European Cup. So that might be one of the odds against them. But otherwise, yeah, I believe Bayern will be there. Maybe from the Premier League, Liverpool, Man City might be challenging. I can see them going far. And in terms of real dark horses, I think Leipzig have a chance again. I thought they did really well last season. I think they're very smart in the way of how they're consistently improving their squad. They have an interesting team there. And so from a Bundesliga perspective, apart from Bayern, I think Leipzig could very well go far again this year.
And Antonio, finally, your comments.
For me, I'll start with a headline. With the current squad, FC Barcelona and Real Madrid have 0 chances. First of all, because Real Madrid, the signings they did recently with Hazard and Jovic, Hazard not playing, Jovic not for Real Madrid, as we mentioned, and the team still needs a full revamp. FC Barcelona, for as much as we might think that with Koeman and so on and Suarez not there, is under the renovation. So, but I don't think their squad as per today can bring them very far in the competition. Once I say that, very clear. So we have 8 groups, 4 teams, 32 teams overall. the classic Juventus, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern, Leipzig, Atalanta, Liverpool definitely will go through the group stages. We're going to get surprises already in the group stages. The draw is important after that. What's going to be the crossing and so on. But I would say for me, top favorites as per today, Bayern without a doubt. I think Juventus are going to be there. I think Man City is going to be there. PSG. I'm going to call them underdogs, but I agree with Rafa that Leipzig, we need to keep an eye. For me, after I think they've played 6 games, the performance of Atalanta is unbeatable as per now in terms of aggressiveness, how play forward. So I'm going to put it in that group with Leipzig. Later on, this is a competition that you need players that have played the competition before, that they have the experience. What I mentioned before of, oh yeah, you can play against Barcelona. Well, maybe Barcelona is not a good example because something I want to say very clearly is while Barcelona still keeps Lionel Messi, anything can happen. The little man can win the whole competition. And I know I say that not one player will win it, but in this case, Messi is able to. So I think the classes will go through. We'll get some surprises in the group stages. And but on the side that I'm here to talk about it, which is Spanish teams, I don't think Real Madrid and Barcelona will go very far. My hope out of the 4, with including Sevilla, is Atletico de Madrid. Because as I say, they've been there, they've reached to finals, they know exactly. We saw what they did at Liverpool last year. Nobody was, giving anything about, Atletico Madrid, and they knocked down the champion. So it's very open. And don't forget about the lack of spectators. It's a huge component.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So with that, we conclude the show. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening in to and watching as well to this inaugural episode of Ras Takes On Europe. We'll be back again next week. But in the meantime, do remember to like us, subscribe to us, and you can always just share this stream
guys.
once more. Thank you very much for taking your time out to speak to us, Rafa and Antonio. My friend Elvin, are you going to watch the match tonight, early tomorrow morning?
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's see whether we sakit hati or not next morning. All right, Take care, man. Take care, everybody.
Thank you,
guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.